And I am back from an incredibly long break, and I do apologize. So, at the moment, I am just holding my mic for now. I haven't found all of my ASMR thingies, so I can't find the little clip that I usually use for this. But I want to say hello, and I have missed all of you guys so incredibly much, and I am really sorry for the incredibly long break that I've taken, and it's been an incredibly silent break as well. I don't know why I'm so out of breath at the moment. There's just something still when it comes to whispering that just takes my breath away. But, so, I think one of the last things I left you guys on was I made a community post talking about how I had just started a full-time job and I was going to try to post videos every week still. But it just ended up being a lot more. I struggled a lot to keep up with the intended plan that I wanted to, especially with my job. At the time, I was working 6:30 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, which I know isn't like an incredibly long amount of time, but I had been a stay-at-home mom for 14 years, so getting into the workforce was really different, especially with the job that I had. I'm constantly running around all day long, so I was just really tired. I was struggling with time management. I apologize for that playing in the back, but it was just a really rough transition, but I am so incredibly grateful for it because I love my job, and I just thought maybe making videos wouldn't be it for me anymore, and so I thought maybe I wanted to give up making videos. So I just went completely silent. You may know I deleted my Patreon. I didn't feel right taking money from anyone, and I wasn't making content or anything anymore, so I did delete that. I did move a lot of the videos I had on my Patreon and had them uploaded to my YouTube. I think there's actually a lot So I just really wasn't seeing them. And then also, on top of like my days off, they're still at school all day. I just feel like I get more time with them when I work the morning shift. But I just prefer the morning shift as well because I just feel like I get so much more done. I work 2 services in the morning. So my job is I work at the hospital. I'm not a nurse or anything. I am what's called a wait staff associate, or what we call ourselves at work. We call ourselves runners. So what I do is I prep all of the trays and like food for all of the patients in the hospital, and I put them on like my little trolley cart. And I very, very briskly roll it all around the hospital to all of the rooms I have to go to and deliver all of the food to the patients. But there is more to it as well. So I've learned a lot when it comes to like diets and stuff like that. So we really have to pay a lot of attention to the patients' tickets. A lot of the patients are diabetic, or they have renal diets, or they're cardiac diabetic diets and stuff like that. I have to know the differences between the diets because there are sometimes a product will get put on to the patient's tickets. They can't eat it. Like, say, I have a diabetic and they have a full sugar pudding. They should have a non-sugar pudding unless the ticket says otherwise. And usually there's always notes to tickets. Like, say if a patient is a pureed diet and they're getting gravy, they're not really supposed to have gravy if they're on a pureed diet. But if the dietitian allows it, then they can have it, but it has to be a note otherwise. Speaking about gravy, I don't know what it is with the hospital, but my hospital treats gravy like it's gold. Nobody can have the gravy. If there's not a note, no gravy for you. It blows my mind. It's crazy with the gravy. But I have like a little paper, so as I'm putting my trays onto my cart, I have to upload them into like a little system for my work tablet, and it shows all of the rooms that I have to deliver to. So I don't deliver to the rooms in like a 1, 2, 3 order. I will go to the first floor, I'll go to the second floor, I'll go to the third floor. I could do room 323, have to do 209, and then have to go over to labor and delivery, and then the ER. And we're called runners because we have got to be quick. We're considered a small hospital, so I only run 10 trays at a time. Sometimes if we are a little overloaded with patients, we will take up to 12. We'll put 2 extra trays on the top. And but typically we only do Even after moving, I still continued to drink. And I started drinking a lot more. So almost 2 years ago, I started drinking, and then just in that time, up until months ago, I was drinking a lot every day. Just about every day, I was buying more liquor. My preferred drink of choice was just mainly vodka, so I was buying vodka constantly, just drinking a lot. It made me feel really sick. It just was ruining my days, and I felt like I couldn't go a day without it. If I didn't have any, I just was constantly going to the store, buying more, and drinking more, because the amount I was drinking wasn't doing anything for me anymore. But also, upon moving to my mom's up in Georgia and everything, I gained a significant amount of weight. You might have noticed in some of my videos, or you may not have. I felt like I did kind of a good job with like an angle I used, and it just didn't make me look as chubby. But I went from weighing around like 155 pounds, that my highest weight before I moved back to Florida was 192 pounds. So I gained about 40 pounds in a year, because I also used food for coping. So when I was drinking, I wasn't drinking during the day. So what I was doing is I was eating all day long, and then I was drinking into the early morning hours. And I just, before I stopped making videos, I was really, really miserable. I was sad all the time. I was always pitying myself. I always felt sick and unwell. I felt so incredibly unhealthy. So, I just kind of had like, I needed to change, and I'm not really sure exactly what it was, but just one day I was like, done. I was just so done. It might actually have a lot to do with my job. A lot of the patients I see, a lot of them are sick, and the way that their health is because all that's going on with them, a lot of it is stuff that they've done to themselves. I see so many people who don't care for themselves. They get a wound and they just let it get horrible, and it's crazy to me. And then how some of the patients are with food. That was a big thing with work. Work really changed the way I view food. Sometimes when I think about food, it makes me feel so sick, because how some people get about food. Like I said, how some of the patients, like especially with my work, we treat gravy like it's gold. The way some of the patients get about food sometimes is like, I won't necessarily say that it's gross, but it just kind of makes me feel really unwell. And another big thing too is like what they do to their food, because after a short, so at the end of every service, we have to wait an hour, and then we go do tray pickup. So we go back to all of the floors, and we pick up all of the trays and get all the dishes back to bring them down, to wash them, to use them again for next services. And some of the things that these people do to their food and do to their trays stresses me out sometimes. Like, I've kind of grown really accustomed to just a lot of the stuff that I see. I've seen it all. I've seen bloody causes. I've seen syringes and medications on trays. I've seen unknown substances on trays. I have had patients pee in cups and put them on the trays for me to take. I have had patients just full on vomit all over their trays. That's the one that's the hardest for me, especially because when it comes to spit or adult throw up, there's just the amount of adult throw up and spit that makes me so physically ill that when I usually hide it in the back of my car so I don't have to look at it, and I try to just I just, one day, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to drink anymore. And I will say that first week was really, really hard. I definitely struggled a lot, because I live right next to the store, so driving by it, it's like I could stop, but my will to stop drinking was stronger. I don't know if maybe I wasn't necessarily like a full some of the angriest women, and I feel like a lot of the guy nurses I see there they're not really that grumpy, but the women, oh my god, they're so nasty, and just sometimes the way that they treat the patients, well, I don't like it. But I actually had somebody talking to me about maybe I like being a CNA, like being a certified nursing assistant, and upon looking into it, I think that is something that really interests me and something I'd like to get into in the future. But I would have to get like proper education and everything, and I was like a schooling, so that would be something I really have to take a lot of time in learning and doing. But it's really nice that I have so many things to look forward to in the future, and I really hope from here on out that I can create a lot of content for you guys. I just feel like with all of my newfound confidence that my content might thrive a little better and will show like a better side of me. And I just feel like maybe my videos just might be like a little better for everybody. I don't really know what I'm trying to say there, but it just, making videos in the beginning, I really focused on trying to do everything that everybody wanted me to do, and I was trying to make my videos like other people. I don't know, I was always like trying to do all of these things. Like sometimes if I didn't feel like I looked pretty enough in a video, I would delete it. And I just feel like that was so sad, because I just was so anxious, and I just was so harsh and mean to myself. And the thing is I never really experienced a lot of backlash or anything with my videos. It was just mainly myself. I was the one that was giving myself all of the backlash and all of that really harsh treatment, because I just felt like, how could anybody want to watch my content when I would watch other YouTubers? And I would just think their content was so beautiful. They were so beautiful. Everything was so perfect. And it was just like, how can I achieve that? How can I be that? And the thing is how can you achieve something you aren't? Like, I was always trying to work towards something and achieve something that, like, could never be for me. Like, some girls, I felt like, you know, they were just so beautiful, and I would see them, you know, as thin I was, because, you know, with, like, my weight and everything, I just felt like I wasn't good enough, and I would see these beautiful, smaller girls just showing a lot more skin than I did, and I felt like maybe nobody would want to watch me, because I didn't really show a lot of skin, but showing a lot of my skin just, I don't know, makes me uncomfortable. And I would do things that would make me uncomfortable, and I would just get pressured into doing all these things and feeling like I had to do them, because that was just the only way. And that was such a really nasty mindset for myself, because I don't know, it just makes me feel sick. And it's kind of like that thing, like, I would spend so much of my time trying to make everybody happy, and that is just one of the hardest lessons that you have to learn, and it just is really, really, like, upsetting to know that it took me so long to realize that I can't do that. And I actually realized that with work. I was trying to get everybody to like me. Like, I just wanted everybody to like me. I just wanted to do everything that everybody wanted me to do, and it was like the same way with my videos, and all it did was stress me out, and it just made me feel so upset all of the time. And it just was like I was constantly trying to achieve something that I was never going to be able to achieve or do for everybody, because it's impossible. And when I kind of finally let go of that mentality to really focus more on myself, I felt a lot better. I just had somebody tell me, you know, flat out, she was just like,